maybe I just thought I was a bit hard and
Yeah. I like that. I love the story of you being on acid with a face wound listening to Riff Raff. That's classic. That's some classic shit. I can be there for that. I can be there running into your fucking house fence trying to run away
Yeah.
from home. Fucking hell. So like we'll cut into the fashion, side of things. How long, like, I mean, I know that's such a generic question, like how long have you been into fashion? But like how long have you been into fashion? Like how long? Like a long time, like growing up, like as a kid, were you like, because obviously your appreciation, there's a lot of early photos of you rocking some pretty chav lad shit. So you've been doing it for a long time. And I wonder like where that came from and like when that came to you. Was it a particular person that put you onto it, or was it just a scene that you were watching on the internet, or was it Tumblr?
No. I think I've been through like a lot of
phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Like we all
absolutely.
have.
Everybody has. Everyone good's gone through a lot of phases.
Yeah.
Of phases.
I was thinking about this the other day because sometimes you've got to sit there and be like, oh wait, gotta.
Yeah. Don't want to get too hype on stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I got into vintage when I was about 11 years old, I think.
Just before starting to drink.
Yeah, maybe a year before. No, my auntie used to take me to Wynnum, on school holidays and stuff, and like I don't know, I had like the real like 60s like I don't know rockabilly kind of shit.
Yeah, because I mean I was very interested in that, like the difference between like. I think like a lot of people's perceptions of what like a vintage store would include would be shattered by going to something like Lil J's, obviously, because it's like vintage streetwear. Like,
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
No.
Because there is like the flares and the like, the leather suede jackets and shit like that.
Oh, mate.
That are like vintage clothing.
Vintage.
But I think it is literally it's just because as time has gone on. Like when people were rocking new polo, Ralphie and all that stuff, and then the vintage clothing was the flares, and now there's a whole new thing, and the vintage clothing is that Ralphie now. Like it's just the time has come.
I do consider it vintage because a lot of my items are over 20 years old.
Yeah.
And if you're talking to...
That's old.
Yeah, it is pretty old.
Yeah.
It is old. But then also, like, it's secondhand. And if people want to, like, actually sit on the name, like Lil J's Vintage, which is, no disrespect to them, but, like, some snoopy older people that come in are like, is this vintage? And I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
or secondhand.
Yeah.
Or pre-loved. But, like, I wouldn't dwell too much on that.
No, yeah, I just wondered, if it was like a perception thing, because I just think it's funny to think like vintage to one generation is like, when I say like, oh, how crazy were the 70s? Like the 70s were my parents growing up and stuff like that. So that's vintage to me and it was legit to them. So like,
but vintage
get
now
with the times,
like...
people that are questioning Lil J's. Get with the times.
Fuck is.
My God.
Suck a dick, you
yeah, so when did you transition from like going to Wynnum? Suck a dick, you fucking bastards. When I love Bundy rum, suck a dick.
Suck a dick.
When like in particular, obviously, I mean, if we were to talk about Lil J's, we'd have to talk about the sort of like lad urban fashion sort of thing. So when did you move from like the classic, vintage clothing of Wynnum to the more like streetwear side of things? Because it must have still been like in your early teens, like 13, 14, 15 sort of thing, right? Started hanging out with some bad kids and they were rocking Nike and shit like that.
Yeah. I think for me it was mostly like I was brought up so it kind of like stems from the story of when I was hit by a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
So I would go to Townsville and I'd visit my aunties and uncles, and they had 6 kids. And my uncle, he was half Samoan, half Indigenous, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's lots of soul and funk. And even just like hip-hop.
So it's the cool part. You go to your cool family. Yeah.
No, I would. And like all my cousins were B-boys. All of them were just like into the Nike, the sportswear, like growing up, listening to Missy Elliott, like Queen Latifah, fucking Lil Kim. Do you know what I mean?
Classic.
Like,
Queens of hip-hop.
Yeah.
Underappreciated Queens of hip-hop.
Yep.
Even though they're very
MC
well
Light,
known.
like just like
MC
a bunch
Light,
of like babes, but they all had the streetwear, but they also had like a touch of being ladies.
Yeah.
Like
Lady Rage.
They knew where to, I don't know, step it up. Like they were classy, but then they also rocked the trackies and
of course,
all that kind of stuff. So I think for me, it was when I started making disposable income, really.
Yeah.
Which was
those were the sort of icons you were like. That was the style of fashion, like the feminine but also urban with it kind of. Yeah, cool.
It started with sneakers though.
Yeah, right. In particular?
I have a fuck story.
Yeah.
I used to work at Crust Pizza.
Yep, they know. Cracky of Crust Pizza, legendary.
It was the first Crust Pizza I worked at.
Yeah.
And
you worked at a few?
Yeah, I worked. No, it was this one. And then it was another one. And when I was at the other one, they were like my homeboys for like 4 years. But yeah, I got overpaid. I got like back paid for like months. So I was kind of just out of this cash. And I was really young. So I was like, fuck it. Yeah. So I got karma. Karma bit me in the ass for this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I started.
Oh my God, I've got such a similar story.
Splashing cash on sneakers.
Getting a whole bunch of money and just dropping it straight into fucking.
I remember I went and bought like a pair of Air Max 1s and 574 New Balances. And
yeah,
like,
right.
Yep, and then that was the start of it.
New Balance were popping for a while.
They were. I think the chunkier the shoe.
You do notice that they've kind of dropped a little bit, right? Yeah. They just don't.
I think if you're like an MB kind of person, like, I don't know, I always loved how Kyle Golly could rock New Balances when we were growing up.
God bless him.
Yeah, God bless
him.
He's cute New
Mr.
Balances.
G-Woggle.
G-Wizzy. I like to call him G-Wiz.
Yeah, I didn't even call him Kyle, because I know all these guys by like their aliases as well. It's more comfortable for me to call them that, even though they're like, "No, this is my name, man." I'm like, "Nah, bro, you're icon to me." Yeah, the NBs, man. I never was really into joggers. I was always like the Vans, like the short Vans. Well, I do it up, I do it up. This is my work clothes.
Yeah.
And yeah, because so it was your cousins and stuff like that. So I think everyone has to have a cool part of their family that puts them on to like the cool shit.
If we're talking about pinpointing, that would be that.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
If we're talking about hustling and like pushing clothes, it would be probably my mum, because she used to smash eBay.
Yeah,
and
she was a reseller, was she?
Yeah, well, I used to do it for her because I was a wizard at the computer.
You're in this, because just by virtue of age, you were the wizard of the family as far as
the eBay went.
Yeah.
And then do you know what I did?
What?
When I went to Thailand, I bought like 40 pairs of Levi's.
Yeah.
And they were 30 baht, which at the time was $1 Australian each. So $40. And then I put them all on eBay for $40 each, and they all sold. And that was kind of like
flexing. That's a ridiculous amount of profit. Wow.
For a young lady.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's kind of just been like a love.
You made like a 4,000% up mark on each one? That is exceptional business tactics.
I liked it.
Fuck yeah.
The money.
But so like to take it back even further.
Sorry,
like,
that sounded so bad. I was like, I like the money. I don't really. It gets.
Well, you have to earn money. You're trying to make a business out of this.
Sorry.
I'm not trying to make a business out of this.
So fucked.
Oh my God, she's just money hungry mogul. She's like Cruella de Vil, but in TNs.
Yeah.
Like,
What up?
What up?
A Bundy drinking.
Exactly.
Cruella de Vil.
So, like, because I was actually interesting going through, like, the history of Lil J. I saw so many current trends, like, current for me, like 2017, 18, and you were rocking them in, like, 14 and 15, like, 2014 and 2015. Like, some people like, man, like, shoulder bags are, like, a new thing. Like, you've been rocking shoulder bags and 95s and all that stuff for years. Yeah, originator.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Does it suit like, I mean, it certainly like especially as like a business owner and stuff like that, but like all these people are getting into something you've been on for ages. So you have like not only a heap of knowledge and a heap of mental superiority, just being like, I was on this wave for ages before you guys were fucking jacking this shit.
No way.
Yeah, but like you can position yourself as like a bit of a mental, I mean, you have like, there's pictures of you in 2014 with 95s on and stuff like that. People are killing for that shit now.
No, I know.
Originator.
It's pretty fucked. Hey?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, I mean, like in the last, this is on a very Brisbane level, but especially as like connected to the hip hop side of things as well. But Brisbane is like lad is just on the up.
The thing for me, now that you're asking me this question and I'm thinking about it, it's fashion repeats itself.
Yeah.
So regardless,
cycles,
it's not really like I was kind of.
You was on an earlier cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way to think about it.
I was looking at clips from the 90s and shit, and just especially, I don't know, That's the only way I can put it at this current point.
That's good. Well, if you get any further knowledge, feel free to spit it. Because I just thought like, and what was like, so back then when you were watching these 90s videos, just like for people that aren't super clued up on streetwear, like what are like the classic looks? Like,
for me personally, like,
this is who it is. This is the Lil J interview. All I want is the Lil J opinion.
I don't know, just like Run DMC stands out for me so badly.
Buckies?
Like, pardon?
The bucket hats and stuff like that?
Yeah, the Kangols.
Yeah.
Like, even...
Wait, were they rocking... Oh,
Yeah, man.
they were Kangols, right.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I had too many bongs before.
That's all right. Not mine. I only smoke synth weed.
Same.
On the bath salts.
I don't know. It's like the Kangols.
It was
Samuel
fresh.
L. Jackson, even like the back, like that is so dapper.
Yeah.
There's something, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm talking. You just pick up on a bunch of shit. Even like, I don't know. There's something sleek about just not giving a fuck, bigger the better, out there, just being crazy, being insane.
The really, really, really oversized tracksuits with the bucket hat and shit like that, and then the real tight, like nice ass sneakers. Like it's a classic look.
Yep.
It's a Run DMC. Well, they had quite tight tracksuits though, Run DMC, but definitely
The Adidas.
classic. Yeah, of course. It's not easy to rock a rhyme, and like and like how like I would say, Lil J's. Like, what is the brand that features in Lil J's the most?
Polo. But
Of
that's
course.
because I'm biased.
That's because you're biased. So how did you fall in love with Polo? Has it always been Bay?
Bae.
Has it always been
I'll
Bay?
find my Polo bae
You
one
love
day.
Polo.
I fucking love Polo.
So tell me about it.
Show you this tattoo,
yeah.
everyone. I love Polo.
Oh, you got the bear on you, do you?
Yeah, mate.
Oh, I'm rocking some fresh Polo.
Except
from...
she's a female bear.
Oh, that's sick.
I'm wearing a top, by the way.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't, I'd still take
The
it.
I'm rocking a cool piece. The Ralphie
Sport.
bear from Lil J's Vintage. Check it out. Whoa.
www.liljplug.com.
Check it out for all your fashion needs. Lad fashion needs. Yeah, so like when did Polo like, what captured, because Polo captured me as well, where like I have a lot of Polo, like I was kind of known for my Polo.
Yep.
I got a lot of Polo. Like
Are you now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in the same way, like I'm not known for, like you were wearing rare Polo in a crowd that appreciated Polo. I was wearing common Polo in a crowd that hated Polo.
Okay.
Because it was like preppy, I guess, like, you know, like the polos and stuff like that.
It's dapper regardless of how
it's
new
so
it
slick.
is.
Why does this one little symbol just look so sick on everything?
I know. It does.
It's so annoying.
Whether it's the bear or the Polo man
Mum
himself.
would be like, you know, they're just a fucking shirt. And because it's the same with Billabong and stuff.
Same with my dad,
Yeah, they'd be like, you know, it's just a fucking shirt with a tiny little man on a horse. And I'd be like, but it's the coolest little man on a little horse. Like, you know, it looks sick.
It's dapper and it's timeless.
It's dapper. It's timeless.
It's dapper. It's timeless. I actually, like, I'm just trying to think.
Well, you can stew on it if you don't have any. It doesn't have to.
No. I know why, but I'm trying to pinpoint exactly. Like, I remember, like, Slick Rick, like Kanye and shit. Like, I remember they just had the bear, and there's so, like, it's never ending. And I think I started baby steps.
Is Ralph Lauren daddy as hell though?
Oh, he is daddy.
He is though.
He is
it's so weird.
fox.
I looked at a photo of him and I was like, oh shit, he's kind of cool.
Dude, he is hot as shit.
Yeah, and he's got like that look, like, you know, like he encapsulated who he was and put it into a brand.
Absolutely.
And then that's what Polo is.
He's a silver fox.
Do you reckon he knows like how like his influence on like the urban side of things?
Fucking
like,
oath. Well, I'd hope he does.
Yeah, because like I bet you he doesn't know in train stations across the world there are kids staunching rocking Polo.
Tommy Hilfiger himself,
he's
he knows. He's aware. He's got a crew. He's like speaks to the younger people. Ralph, I don't know.
He doesn't pander to him.
No, but I will say this. So a part of me, I not only did I like Ralph Lauren, but I also liked his story. So he was just a young dude living in the Bronx.
Oh, he's from New York. I thought he was from Italy or something.
No.
Yeah.
Originally, I think his parents are Jewish or Jewish and Italian, maybe. But his real name isn't Loren. It's Lifshitz.
I
Did you know that?
No, but I know of the Jewish name Lifshitz from like Holes or something like that.
Well, I think it's Lifshitz. It is.
Yeah.
I should know Daddy's last name. Anyways,
Puppy.
old Lifshitz, he he was from the Bronx, basically made these ties. Like he used to, all of his clothes started from recycled army wear.
Yeah.
And then he just like make up these suits and all these funky jackets and all this kind of stuff, which is where you see like some of the retro stuff at the moment, which was just mentioned in Hype Beast. Like he's dropping this whole new, and it's like, oh, cool. Okay, so you 60 years ago, this was your inspiration, or 50 years ago, I should say. He's only 60 something. But yeah, I think he has a really good story, and he just like pushed his idea, and he was consistently turned back and kind of told that he wouldn't be able to do anything with this. And one of the stories is, I believe it was Harrods. He made the tie and it had the polo on it because he was pushing ties to Harrods. And they went back and they said, sorry, Ralph, like, we don't like it. Make it a thinner tie and also get rid of the polo. And he was like, no, get fucked, basically.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, they were practically begging him and offering
Isn't
him.
that the best
like
moment?
All good, like all good success stories. And then from then on,
Did he stick it to Harrods?
Yeah.
And Harrods has never sold polo since.
No, they do. I've been there.
Oh. They had to give in eventually.
Yeah, they
was
did.
That shouts out, Daddy. Yeah, well, I always wondered because I was looking through it and I was like, this is polo, like polo, and like Jackie is polo.
Okay.
And the classic, the full suit, like the polo checkered suit. I got a few classic polo jackets that have like the crisscross stuff on the inside.
Yeah, like paisley kind of thing.
Yeah, looks sick. Like like the tartan almost.
Oh, tartan.
Yeah, looks sick.
Classy man.
Yeah, you know.
Do you whip them out often?
Yeah, but they're all sized for fat Liam, so they don't.
But, you know,
the jean jacket and the green jacket they work, but the blue jacket don't work. It's too big.
Wouldn't it be fitting for all these hip hop gigs that we're bumping into each other at?
Potentially.
You know, just a nice suit and tie.
I rock. I'm actually a bit like. You've seen my my Kappa polo, like, you know, that's the sort of and the loafers and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying things out,
mixing it up, mate.
Exactly. And so like because that was another thing. Like, man, the is it Kangol? That's it, Kangol.
Yeah,
the Kangol hat. Like, I only knew about that recently, and then you've been rocking the same one for years. Well done on keeping it wide.
Oh yeah, the buckety.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved since then. Like, not the buckety. That's filthy.
Yeah.
But I make it look clean.
Yeah, you make it look clean.
I've got my ways.
Yeah, of course.
I like the flat caps.
Yeah.
Like, so the old, not flat caps like fucking the new tech ones. Like, I'm talking like old school war veteran, proper golf hats. That's the technical name for them, is flat caps.
Flat caps, right? I thought you were talking about like a fitty cap. I was
man,
what?
No.
They were doing
What do you
those
mean?
versions?
No.
Like, with like juicy and like letters across the top.
Jay Quallen. Tacky.
And so you've got this love of streetwear from your cousins, vintage from your auntie, hustling from your mum, and then it all comes together on October, maybe November 2015. What did we create?
Did you go on my LinkedIn, my G?
No. No. Is there a LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Do you know, when I was coming to your store, I wanted to do the best way. You know what I said? I didn't actually. I don't say to my phone. I typed in, and it was like, oh, Lil J's Vintage. Here's how you get there. And then my phone talked through my Bluetooth, said, Lil J's Vintage might be closed when you arrive. And I was like, has she not made it? Has she not made it? My fucking computer is saying her business name. That's pretty sick.
Thanks, babe.
I think it's really cool, man. I think it's super, super cool.
You get on the old Google.
Yeah, so that's the start of Lil J's, like October, November 2015. So you've got all this, the sort of hustle, and you've obviously been doing pieces of the same thing, but you decided to like finally put it together, like create a bit of a brand and start doing it. Like, was there anything, like, were you always trading before that? This is just, because you're obviously with the Levi jeans from Thailand and stuff like that. No, but that's legit.
Yeah.
4,000% is an insane, like, that's amazing.
It's
A lot of, you would have been cashed up like a motherfucker.
Little bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I needed to steal
so
from
much
my
fucking
company.
weed. My God. You must be in the sesh.
Durries as well.
Oh, of course.
Shout out to KG convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to
Ran
buy
'em
all-
dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were you
mate.
smoking?
I was tried and true Winnie Blue. And then I went to Champion Ruby for a bit, and then I'm back on Winnie Blues.
The first pack of cigarettes I ever bought was at Schoolies, and because I didn't get ID'd at Schoolies. So I'd always smoked, like smoked dubs or somewhere, but I never bought cigarettes or anything. And I didn't know what to buy. So I was like, and my mind's just going, what is cigarettes? What is cigarettes? My mind just goes, Marlboro. And then I go, red. I go, Marlboro Reds.
So you're like, they're the strongest one.
Fucking Diesel. I was like head spinning off every single one.
When you're on holidays, I always smoke Marlboro Reds, which is fucked. I don't know why. Don't ask.
Because it just keeps you.
If I'm in
gully.
Bali or no, that makes me sound like I'm always overseas. But if I've been on holidays,
if you're only at Bali, that's classic. You're a rum drinker who goes to Bali. That's a real stereotype. Fucking. Let's go to Kuta.
You want to go to Kuta,
Let's
man?
fucking mistreat some locals.
Yes.
And
I'm from Darwin, go.
So you just decided to because you were doing it on Etsy and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's more to that story.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, give me the abridged version or give me the full version. It's up to you.
Well, essentially, when I left school, so I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer, at the end of grade 12. And so I was like a bald bitch. Not all the time. I had hair. It fluctuated.
I actually, the hair journey, I feel like, it was one of the coolest parts of the time journey. I was like, you got to try some experimental haircuts at points when people were probably not ready to do that sort of stuff.
I was just going all out.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
Like, fuck it. Mum's never let me dye my hair. Now I'm going to do it. It's going
got
out
a guilt
anyways.
trip on her now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sick.
No, I'm just kidding. That was terrible. I don't know why I just went that. So I was like really sick. And then at this point, I also was having disposable income. So I was making disposable income, I should say. So while I was still having chemo, I was still working. And
At Crust.
Yeah, at Crust. And I was pretty, I don't know, you could say I was a bit bored. And I feel like that was before, I don't know if you and your mates used to do this, but to pass time, we used to we were kind of urban explorers. We were into urbex and shit, but we just go to a bandos. And
Golly was doing that too, right?
Yeah, but he was always my sister's friend kind of thing. But then we got close over the years. But we just go to spots and I just dress my mates up in Ralph Lauren, or I would sometimes. And then it got to the point where it so I had this blog called Ralphie Baby. And this is what I just upload shit to the whole time. And then when I went in for a stem cell transplant, which was almost 5 years ago in December this year. So 5 years in remission. Thanks, Del. Thanks, Del. I was copping all this shit from all these essays. It was just the rise of the essays. Finally my target, me trying to find my target demographic. Oh,
I've been loving polo for years. And these guys are I fucking love polo.
Yeah, they were who the fuck are you? They were dropping shit, get a new model. They were really mean.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, it was fucked. No, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Here's this little lady and all of her friends.
And all the essays are just taking the piss.
Oh, they were taking the piss, mate. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm retiring from this shit.
They tried to break you.
They broke me. Not for too long. Yeah. Not for too long. So I deleted everything off that Instagram and was just like, yep, sweet. Fuck Ralphie, baby. And I didn't think about it for a while. I went on my way, I did my thing, kept collecting all the cloths. Yeah. And then I got a job at a specific hotel, I'm not going to mention. No, maybe when you said October 2015. Yeah. And they didn't like my work or my pre-pinger post knockoff style.
Yeah. No, that's... Look, I don't understand why it caused problems, but...
They had no idea. Anyways, they just said that I asked for too much time off because I was doing heaps of shit with Make-A-Wish. Because I was a young ambassador for Make-A-Wish. And
getting stacks of money for cancer research.
Yeah.
You held some big checks.
Yeah, mate. Oh, yeah, I had some big checks. You look quite relaxed, Sam. Maybe I'm just...
No, well, the thing is, I'm reminding myself to lay back and let you tell the story. I get excited and I interrupt, and I'm trying to just remind myself that this is Jackie's time. She's telling me a good story.
You're a kind man.
Yeah, I'm trying to pay attention.
Thank you, Dal. And then, So I got called in one day after a big weekend of working and
rolling your jaw.
Yeah. No, I wasn't on the gear that weekend. And they were basically just like, look, you've asked for X amount of time off in this many days. We don't think you're suited for this position. And that was like 10 a.m. in the morning after I'd worked ridiculous hours, like fucking 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Still did it for them. And then even though I kind of knew, I had a feeling I was getting fired.
Yeah.
Got fired,
You
went
know
home.
I've been fired. You know when it's going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Well, considering they asked me on like the Thursday and then
Yeah.
my meeting was on the Monday. Yeah, you know what it's like. And then, and then got sacked at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And then I went and had a Forex. And then I made Lil J's Instagram that afternoon.
Oh!
Yeah, it was a real great story.
Oi, don't everyone grows from the lows.
Yeah,
so
you
you're
grow
like,
from
this
the low.
sucks, man. Like, what am I gonna do? Wait, and this is by no means saying that what you've done and what I've done is of any equivalency, but I only started the podcast because I remember getting home from work one day and I was like, I hate my job. I want to do something I kind of like.
And then here you go.
Yeah, I'll start interviewing people only in Brisbane hip hop and associated scenes. Yeah, right. So you just go home, you create Lil J's Vintage, but was it to be a store? Like, are you like, I'm going to do a store with this?
It was to be an online shop.
Yeah.
An online store.
An Etsy. Like yeah. And then I'm just going to have to go do my classic check again. Look, I'm neurotic. I can't help it. If I lose any footage of this classic, it could not happen. Yeah, because like, and was it was the Lil J's Vintage was to sell like the vintage polo. That's always what you had in mind.
And well, I guess it was just more or less just kind of like, I am neurotic. Yeah, I just had a mad collection of clothes. And it was more or less just like
You had a lot of clothes?
Yeah.
Like a huge amount.
Well, as I said, these boys had, boys, gentlemen, wherever you are now, they had attempted to knock me down. And might I just say...
They failed horribly.
Yeah, but isn't that like kind of, doesn't that just reiterate you never have no idea what's going on in somebody's life? So I don't really understand keyboard warriors. I never will.
The vintage, yeah, because like the vintage streetwear versus the more classically vintage. What are you doing pulling a bloody... Oh, you're going to sit... There's the cameras on. I think you're in it as well. You can be in it if you want.
Scotty can be in it.
Yeah, Scotty can be in it. So like... So that was 2015 and you were doing that. Was it pretty like slow starting, or was it... Because you had to kind of find your market too, and a lot of your market probably... like hadn't really discovered they like polo yet either. No,
it was a very slow market.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my girlfriends at first kind of felt slightly bad for me. So maybe they were...
they felt a little bit like...
A few of my first customers.
Yeah.
But that's all right. It's still a bit of support.
And yeah, because like... But the scene that you were dressing to, it was... You wouldn't have been seeing people that you were wearing similar clothes in Brisbane, right? Like when you were stepping out, you were one of the few people that were rocking like vintage polo and stuff. Well, in 2015, 14, 16.
The good thing about having that social media account that everyone was giving me shit on, that I was like, yeah, fuck that for a while.
Yeah.
That was like a beginning for my target demographic. So like when I pulled it out and resurfaced it, it was like, all right, you don't know what this is. Didn't have any face attached to it. Still to this day, I don't really like putting photos of myself up there.
Yeah,
unless
right.
It's like real vital.
Yeah, the Instagram stories, it's fairly clear who is running it.
Yeah.
Do you reckon those people are still floating around? The ones
absolutely.
You know them, don't you? You know a few of them.
Oh, probably.
Have you ever approached them?
They just shush their mouth.
Yeah, they
days.
kept it quiet, do they? They don't step on little Jackie no more.
No, not even that. It's just like, keep your opinion to yourself, you fucking prick.
And don't try and hurt somebody for no reason. Don't try and hurt. If you're just trying to hurt somebody, there's nothing constructive about it. That is just bullying.
Yep.
And like, I mean, I know it's probably early to get into this, but like before you were doing the like the garage sales and stuff like that, it was basically just on Etsy and stuff like that, and then the online store.
So initially it was on just Etsy.
Yeah. And
then I remember I went on a holiday and Etsy was going pretty well because like Etsy's a great website in terms of you can search whatever you want, and then you become included in this list of just this never ending like Polo Sport, Ralph Lauren, Tommy, whatever. And then I don't know. I still don't know to this day, but my account was either cancelled or someone dobbed on me for not technically selling proper vintage. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Cause
oh, really? You reckon they were like on that, were they?
well, yeah.
That
so
doesn't
that got
have tassels attached to it.
oh my. There's no tassel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It all just got pulled, and I was like, yeah, sweet, whatever. Start again, and then so I started again on Big Cartel, and then so it was online for maybe like 8 months. No, that's a lie. Like 6.
And then
I did a G sale.
So what, like, where did the idea for a G sale come from?
I don't know.
You just were like, fuck it. Well, because, like, I guess just from garage sales.
Yeah.
Just like, let's just do a giant one, 4 vintage clothes.
Yep. I've got all this shit. Oh,
Yeah.
and I was like op shopping as well.
Yeah.
Like all the time. I
Yeah.
had nothing else better to do.
Any like tips for the young op shoppers out there?
Yeah.
I know you don't want them to cut into your business too hard, but like any tips for the kids would be vital.
Stick at it.
Yeah, you don't know which store you're going to find
Yeah.
gold at. Have you found gold at some fuck-off stores?
Absolutely. I remember it was like, I thought like an Eshe passed away or something.
Yeah.
Because there was like a pair of TNs, Air Force Ones, just like,
Just
dude, these
do
TNs.
a little cross for fucking
Yeah.
some lad.
It was like the start of 2016. I found these TNs for $15. I sold them for $150. So I was just, they were in prime condition. And I was like, who has passed away for this?
Yeah.
But it was
Damn.
dope. I was like, not bad.
What?
Stick at it though.
Yeah.
Because like you're going to walk into one place and there'll be absolutely fuck all.
Just
and
hope an influential Eshe dies in your area.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But people rinse this shit. Like there is actually people that get up and go every morning.
Yeah.
And then there's like older people that are also gymming into the market or whatever you want to say. I don't know. I just said gymming in. I haven't said that in years. That was
Gymming in.
amazing.
Stack it.
Gymming in. Stacking it.
And right, because I've never done the op shopping, but I know like people that are into like the older vintage style, they do a lot of op shopping rather than the polo sort of stuff like that.
But you just have to remind yourself, like, for one, we live in Brisbane, Australia.
Yeah.
Like,
that's sick, right?
yeah, that's dope. No, we're a bit behind. Also, in terms of like polo sport and just generic Ralph Lauren, Australia wasn't getting that shit. It takes us, like Snow Beach was released over a year ago and we're still getting it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Melbourne's already got it. Where it's like, so
What's
in
happening?
terms of finding hectic rare polo,
Yeah.
you never,
It's just gonna be a miracle every time you do it. Every time you pull it off.
and if you do, don't think it's going to happen all the time because it doesn't.
Yeah. And so was the first G sale a success? Was it pretty
Yeah.
much? Oh fuck yeah!
It was dope.
Damn.
It was really good.
Break it down. Like, so this was April 2017.
16.
16. Yes. April. Yeah. Sorry. April
Yep.
2016. Yeah. So you're in.
You
Where
better
was-
be sorry. No, I'm kidding.
No, I've got the right day. I just said the wrong one. Where were you
think I'm
doing
really
it at this
funny.
point? Where'd you do the first one at?
I did it in Mum and Dad's garage.
Oh, nice.
And
the legendary Comus? Is that what they say? Is that the street?
how do you know where I live?
Let's say the number. Because you put all these posters up saying this is where my garage sale is. I won't say the exact number, but they're legendary.
Yeah, the Comus.
Yeah, the Comus.
Well, no, it was yeah, cool because I did all those pop-up stores and shit there, which
Yeah.
is probably pretty stupid. I should probably delete them off the internet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Don't look them up.
Don't don't do that.
Don't go to that store.
So
That store
don't
got
go
teared
to-
down years ago. There's nothing there.
We moved out, you
yeah,
know.
she's gone.
We've moved on.
There's a lot of sick polo.
I live there.
Yeah.
Nah.
Through you with.
No, I went there. No, I didn't. I lived there.
Yeah.
And I had this garage sale and it was like myself and 13 other people. And it sounds pretty ridiculous, but Mum and Dad were just sitting on the front grass and they were kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like there was so many people there.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's a really good day. It's probably like anywhere between 800 to 1,000 people in my
shit.
parents' garage. It was awesome. And then
So you just knew like this is a market. Like this is crazy.
I remember there were like these chicks that had a table there. They were hilarious, but they parked their car right near the rubbish bins, out the front in the garage, and they just kept going and smoking bongs in the car, and it was kind of just like, why are you doing this? There's so many people here. Do you really need a cone right now?
We're selling things.
Yeah, they were selling clothes, but they just take it in turns. I'll never forget. That's like the main thing that I remembered about that day.
Looking at your parents like.
Yeah, I was kind of just like, what?
Yeah.
Just right there.
Exactly. Oh, they're
ripping
wild.
cones.
They're from the streets. They're from the streets.
God, Scotty.
Yeah, right. Because I was gonna say like, because then you start to do the rounds. Like, you know, I think you ended up doing 5 rounds, but like the rounds of the
G sales.
Yeah, the G sales.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're still doing rounds right now, but like these are like new G sales. You're calling these specifically round 2 and stuff like that. And that round 2 was at Bizzles, right?
Yep.
What a cool name for a garage. Like, how'd you get that connect? I've never actually been, slipping, right? This Saturday.
What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah. We'll hook it up at the end. We'll hook it up at the end.
Yeah.
I'll be signing autographs out there. Won't even be out. Might be.
He's going to be signing
autographs. Signing autographs. So how'd you hook up the Bizzles garage thing?
Because
your house, your parents are like, no longer can 800 people come and smoke cones in front of our house.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we've done worse, but
300.
Yeah, maybe. You know. I had one of my girlfriends she used to get her car fixed at Bizzle's garage. Yeah. Because it's actually still running garage during the week.
Yeah. It looks like a real classic, almost like a Matilda's or something like that, yeah.
Monday to Friday. It's a good homegrown business, you know.
Shouts out Bizzles.
Yeah, shout out Bizzles. Brendan, specifically.
Is it Brendan Bizzle?
Yeah. He's my dude. So Imogen, my girlfriend, introduced me to Brendan, and then round 2, we held together. Yeah. And it was good. I don't think it was like anywhere near as big as the first one that we had. Yeah. But that was kind of expected. And also there wasn't as many tables. It was a bit all over the place, like trial and error kind of shit.
Something new, yeah.
And then, I don't know. I'm not really sure why, but we didn't end up pursuing it together and working together. But I kind of was just like, all right.
I'm going to take this.
Here's round 3.
Yeah. You're little J too. So like, you know. I was round 3 at Bizzles as well.
Yeah.
Ever since, it's just been Bizzles after that.
Yep.
But the way you do promo is sick.
Okay.
I think that was very, like, because you obviously had, like, the connection to people that were into making multimedia sort of stuff, like video and filming. Like, how did, like, because, like, Golly did a few early videos, I think. Yeah. How did you hook up with, like, that? Obviously now known as the No.one network, but, like, how did you hook up with all those guys? Like, where was the connection there? Especially, like, the Syntax era, Thought Junkie sort of, obviously, Nerve and stuff like that. Like, how'd you meet those guys? Because that's obviously how I sort of became acquainted with you.
I met G-Wog when he was in grade 9 and I was in grade 10.
Yeah.
And we were at a New Year's party at the coast. And he was a bit fucked and he was vomiting into the Noosa River. So I decided to babysit him for the whole night. And then our friendship kind of blossomed from there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah, some early photos of Golly.
Yeah.
That you know, I don't think he'd know are out there.
Yeah, but they are.
Yeah, they are.
And when you do your research, you will
They're
find
there.
out.
They're definitely there.
He was in my sister's grade at school where we're like, well, I don't know, we all got along and all that jazz. And then, I don't know, we've got mutual friends, but we also have different passions and hobbies. And as we got older, I just like kept in contact with G-Wog, and then
he was into similar sort of styling too, right? Like he has some pretty vintage clothing and classic pieces.
And he was really into like streetwear and urbex. And then I remember him and we booked a flight. We didn't book a flight just randomly. Sorry, we went on a holiday to Melbourne with his girlfriend Sari, who's one of my best mates. Our mate Dave and my ex-boyfriend Usti. Yeah. And then I don't know, it was like a little crew. Yeah. And then from there, I don't know how it all linked up. Like,
yeah, right. Because like the like hip-hop DJ sets at the Lil J's thing, that's the coolest shit. Like, you know, watching the videos and stuff of like the sort of vibe that gets going and stuff like that.
It was fun while it lasted. And then I was kind of just like snapped into it and was like, all right, fuck, I can't have people drinking, smoking doobies.
So it starts off like a party and then it's like, hang on, we can't have drinking. I remember seeing the first, like, this is a non-drinking and this is a non-smoking event. Because there was not enough business getting done, right? It was people just hanging out too much.
yeah, but like, and also it was great. Like,
yeah.
spitting bars and shit, but it was so loud and
All
very,
consuming.
very public space.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of those bars are a bit wild too.
Yep, and no, it was honestly, it was like Brendan, bless him, Brendan Bizzle. He was kind of just like, this is a representation of yourself.
Yeah.
If you wish to go forward with what you're doing, you should just like watch.
Yeah.
People around you, and I was like,
Watch
yeah, fair
the
enough.
profanity.
And also at the end of the day, he's nice enough to let me hire out his family business. So it was like the least that I could do was like, calm the fuck down, everyone.
Yeah. No, but it happened.
It happened. Yeah. And it was great while it lasted.
You didn't stop it before it happened. You tried it, of course. Oh, I didn't even know that it was like something that had purposefully been tapered off. So I didn't mean to address it like that.
You're all right.
What happened?
Now I just
sold
run.
out.
If I see a tally, I'm like, get that out of your fucking head.
Exactly. Oh, security will kick you out. Security.
Seriously though, but like think about it. It's a functioning petrol station.
Oh yeah.
Like you cannot smoke durries there.
Absolutely not.
I'm on durry patrol these days.
Yeah.
Like I'm a smoker myself, and my sense
bottle?
of smell is not that great, but I can smell a durry.
Yeah. Hey, get out of here. This is a working petrol station.
Yep.
We want some fire fits here, not these fits on fire, all right? You can use
Some
that
of the
one.
little essays take it quite well, and then others kind of arc up a bit. They're like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, it doesn't matter who the fuck I am. Yeah. It's the fact that you're a petrol station.
Stop.
Stop.
Exactly. Don't be a dick. And, because I love the videos. The videos are so cool. I feel like they get a really and like, they're a good not only a good advertising tool, they're just like, it's a good way to remember it. Like, you've got a very good like sort of bookmarks of all these different adventures you sort of did and stuff like that. I have an abridged quote from one of these videos that I took issue with. I'm here to educate and school people on vintage clothing and bring some culture to this city that has little to none.
Here is to educate and school people on vintage clothing and bringing some culture to this city that has little to none.
When was that?
Oh, it must have been like 16 or 17. My God. Shots fired at Brisbane. Jesus Christ. You're already slagging off about Brisbane. Brisbane's fine.
I love Brizzy.
We got a bit of culture. Hey, you're bringing some. That's nice. Little to none, though. Come on, there's a little bit.
Okay, I don't think that was directly at...
I think it was like someone put a camera in your face and they're like, what do you do, Jackie? You're like, I run a vintage store. And then you're like, yeah, I'll just trail this off.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Brisbane, though.
No, I think I was more speaking in terms of like the sports wear
culture. Exactly. I know. I just was looking at that. I was like, oh, what is this?
I get around
What is
Brizzy.
this?
Don't get me wrong.
And
I fucking love this place. Otherwise, I would have done a runner a while ago.
Yeah, you should have. You should have. Melbourne, you would have been fucking millionaire by now.
Yeah, but everyone's doing it.
There's a lot down there. Yeah, exactly. Shouts out Lil J. And then so all this success, years of like developing like a bit of a scene around it, and people like giving mad props.
I can't believe you just whipped that quote.
Mad props. Yeah, love it. I heard that one. I was like, oh, bringing that one back. And like then in July 2018, you're doing the physical store. Mm-hmm. And like I remember the launch party. It was sick. Had a good time. How did you hook up with like the Culprit Club and then merge into a store and everything like that?
Well, it's funny. It's another story that involves Golly.
Yeah. He's influential.
He is. He is quite the influential young man.
It's the only reason I do videos because he was like, do a fucking video. And I was like, all right, Golly. Don't hurt me,
yes,
OG.
Golly.
Don't hurt me, OG.
Now I wear New Balances.
Yeah.
He said to me maybe in about October last year, he was having the launch of his book.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
Lambda, we've shared.
Yeah, there's been Well, you've just been in the fucking filthy parts of Brisbane, and I've just been there little ways. Little ways. I didn't go to Lambda as much as you.
Okay, I was a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was just. I don't know, basically, I think he was talking to Sarah. I don't know how the conversation really went down, but I think she wanted to speak to me about potentially collaborating, and she used to be up the lane in a much smaller shop where the show was.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
it was very narrow,
yeah, it was like a whack weekend because he told me on Thursday, he told me not to mention anything to her, that they'd had this discussion. So then come Friday when it was his show,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck do I say to this chick? I was like, I need to play it cool. I don't really know her. She had sold it a few of the G cells though.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know her from a bar of soap. And I was like, she's like this little pocket rocket, you know?
Yeah, she's very short, isn't she?
She's tiny, she's cute as hell, but she's an insane businesswoman.
Yeah, yeah.
And just has so much passion and just...
Yeah, I was talking to her about how she got the store, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're switched on like a motherfucker.
She's fiery, mate.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
Of course.
But yeah. So I saw her that Friday, and she was like, I need to talk to you. And like she kind of pulled me aside, and we had a brief chat. And then I saw her at my mate's birthday. She was like working on the bar the next night. And then I saw her... Sorry, I smacked that. And then I saw her on Sunday at a garage sale, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I have barely seen this chick, and then bam, I see her 3 times in one weekend. Like, this is meant to be this collaborative storefront that she talks about. And I kind of left it for a while. I didn't really say anything because I didn't want to be too pushy. But essentially, she like called me one day, and I was going to go into her old shop, and she was going to move across to the barber across the road, but then they sold. And then a few months later, she had to call me and be like, hey, that's not going to work anymore. And I was bummed. I had a cry, like a solid cry. Because I'd just been daydreaming for ages.
Dreaming about this cool, you know?
Yep, storefront. And she called me the next day, and she's like, I'm a fucking idiot. Let's collaborate. And I was like, all right, man.
Yay! All right.
And then it's definitely like one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And to me, it's... To me, it's so beautiful. No, okay. I'm Brisbane. I'm Brisbane to the bone. I love Brisbane. And so to me, like, real hardworking members of Brisbane having their own, like, little iconic corner of the valley and shit like that could not be better.
Thank you.
How sick is it? I think it's so sick. Like, talking about 2 young entrepreneurs collaborating. You actually have a store in Brisbane, a physical store in Brisbane. Oh, I think it's crazy. I think it's literally amazing. And you, like, have celebrities come through.
Katy Perry.
What the fuck is that? What? Katy Perry.
Yeah, she's hot.
That's crazy.
She's got some nice tatas on her.
Yeah, right. But did you talk to her?
I did.
She would have been like, she's such a mega celeb that it's almost like she has to have a bubble around her at all times, right?
Well, she had like a posse of Americanos.
Yeah.
And there was 2 ladies and a dude. And she kind of came in. I was pricing shit on the counter, and then I like looked, and I was like, how you going? And then I looked again, and I kind of realized who it was, but she was like full kitted out, cap, glasses tracky, all this shit. And I was like, I fucking know this chick. And like, I haven't felt so much adrenaline. I don't even know why. Like, I used to get around her when I was maybe like 8,
hot
10.
and cold, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Legendary.
But like I don't anyways, but I just full fangirled in my own way.
Yeah.
If I do say so.
Of course, yeah.
I think I asked her how her day was / what she was up to tonight /
she had a show, right?
How she was going. Yeah. In like 20 different possible ways.
Oh, you were just sitting there going, hey, Katy Perry, how you going? What's your weekend up to? What's up to on the weekend? What's happening with the weekend?
I got really weird.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck are you?
I get starstruck with every celebrity. I get starstruck with Brisbane hip-hop people, which is so embarrassing. Then I meet them, I'm like, you're a fucking dweeb. Like, I love them. Like, they're all nice, but I'm just like, I should not have been so nervous. Like, you're just a regular person.
I think that's healthy, though.
Yeah.
Like,
And so as we get, you know, towards the future, I just have one last industry question. How does any insights into like how you use like buyers? Are you just have like your certain online channels, or because you're not really hitting the road to do hitting like op shops and shit anymore, right?
No, but in terms of Australia, like no, but
yeah, you've got like online plugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, I don't know when. Yeah, so I only have Instagram plugs.
Yeah.
Also eBay is a goldie. If you can be fucked.
It is difficult to use.
Yeah.
I don't like eBay very much.
Yeah. There's a few UK websites and they sell wholesale, except in terms of like rarity, it's not that good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it goes for all online things. You never know what you're really going to get.
Yeah, it's just sort of digging through it and stuff. I always wondered like where you must have been sourcing it from, because like you've got obviously a substantial amount of really cool shit.
And if I have a day off, I will go up shopping.
Yeah.
Because it's therapeutic.
And you also enjoy it. Yeah,
yeah.
It's fun. And, you know, you get some new pieces for yourself as well.
I get to walk around Brizzy.
Of course. Oh, Brizzy.
Don't get me,
I'm kidding. I feel like I've
bone.
painted her. No, she loves Brisbane. Everyone loves it. And yeah, right. What? You had all the big sound people come through. I was jealous about that. None of them came through here, you guys. And you two, fuck you guys. The final big question, before I ask for future streetwear trends and what's coming up for Lil J, like, do you think Rip Curl, Piping Hot, and Billabong will ever have their moment as vintage?
Absolutely.
Oh my god, I'm looking forward to it. It's just gonna be so hectic. When I see kids wearing fucking board shorts.
It is, dude. It is. It's happening.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, God bless.
I have found some of the freshest Rip Curl and Billabong pieces ever.
Yeah, dude.
What was the other brand you said? Sorry.
Oh, well, it's a bit more B grade, but Piping Hot. The classic Piping Hot, bro. I used to wear a lot of Piping Hot because we'd go to factory outlets and Piping Hot would have heaps in factory outlets, get some Swish stuff for real cheap. So what do you think, like, what do you think the future trends for streetwear are going, and like, you know, any like just a few like wisdoms from, you know, the crystal ball of Lil J, like anywhere you think it's where you see like little whispers?
Little whispers. I don't know. I feel like females are wearing less.
Yeah, I think that's on the up, is it?
Well, that's just happening.
Yeah, right, okay.
In terms of dudes, I don't know if I'm just like picking up. It's something that I haven't really been into myself because it's absolutely unaffordable and totally ridiculous. But like, everyone's fucking obsessed with Gucci at the moment.
It's wild. It's wild how the designer came in so hard.
So hard, but I can see it
too. Yeah, those fucking Gucci hats, man.
You've had like
iconic.
Even for me, just watching. In saying that, I have a lot of love for the streetwear scene and where it's going. I think everyone's becoming a bit more unique and or putting themselves out there. But like, I've definitely noticed, I don't know, a lot of the lads are starting to incorporate really, really expensive Gucci bag or hat. I don't fucking understand that at all. Sorry, no offense, because as much as I run a vintage clothing business and I collect materialistic shit, there is more to life than owning a fucking
and we're talking
$900
big
pair of
numbers,
shoes.
big numbers, like gnarly numbers.
But you can each to their own. They can do whatever they want. I'm just saying it from where I stand.
Yeah, of course. Shots fired. She hates Brisbane and Gucci. What can you address like what do you think of counterfeit stuff? Just quickly, like, what's your opinion on it? Because it's in your business to not, like, it's not good.
No,
it's
absolutely
fake. It's fake shit, yeah.
Before each sale commences, each seller has to sign.
You check it?
Yeah, well, they have to sign like a waiver that basically states that they are not selling any counterfeit goods.
Yeah.
Obviously, some go through that you can't.
Because they're so good, how would anyone even know? Yeah.
I think it just depends how it's done.
If you're purposely buying fake shit and then trying to pass it off as real shit, that's bad.
A lot of bootleg stuff in terms of the vintage streetwear fashion goes like, because it's so authentic.
Yeah.
And some of it's so old and so fucking whack, like out of this world. It can go for all kinds of prices.
Yeah.
Like even more I don't know. I've seen lots of Tommy, lots of Polo, like
with like weird alterations to it and stuff. Interesting. I've never
even
heard
just
of
the
that.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But instead of counterfeit, in the States they refer to it as bootleg.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like you can
It's
get
got
away
a cooler
with
culture than with the word counterfeit, which is like, pretty
I'm
aggressive.
selling fake shit.
Yeah, this is fake.
I don't like fake shit, but I can admire some bootleg stuff.
Yeah.
I personally only like rocking real shit.
Yeah, I think it's essential, especially if you are gonna wear something because of the value of the brand. It should be real, because if not, then what's the value of the brand means nothing to you anyway. Because so if you're gonna act like it needs to be Polo, then I'll wear it. Well, then it should be actual Polo. Because if not, just wear fucking no brand clothes because you're obviously, you know, that guru. And what's coming up for Lil J? I mean, it probably won't be out it's not going to be out by Saturday or Sunday. But so like you're there, it's always coming up, and people can always come into the store.
Yep.
That parking situation, that's horrendous.
Okay. You can always come into the shop. I don't know, future Lil J.
Yeah, like anything like you'd like to do, like any other sort of style projects or.
Well, essentially, so I'm going to start my own podcast.
Yeah, of course,
which will shit all over yours.
Yeah, good luck. No, I welcome all competition.
I'm kidding.
I only don't welcome competition from people with way more money than me.
I don't know if you picked up on my sense of humor yet, but I'm just being a bitch.
You probably do have a podcast though.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
I'll kill you. I will kill you. Yeah.
right after this. So I'm gonna have a Christmas market, which should be pretty dope. It's my first event that somebody has contacted me to do, which I'm really excited about.
Awesome.
That being my landlord.
Hell yeah.
And he's a legend. It's going to be like a big 3-lane.
At the lane. Fuck yeah. I love the lane party
Me too.
so much.
Except it's going to be all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were other lanes.
Yeah, Bakery Lane and California Lane. Win lane's by far like
B-grade
the
lanes.
Yes.
Win lane.
B-grade
Come on.
lane.
B-grade lanes.
They're all within about 200 meters of each other. So that should be sick.
That'll be awesome. I'll hit that up for sure.
New online website. 3rd birthday's coming up.
Awesome.
There's heaps of shit.
Yeah, in November. Is it November or October? Where do you put the birthday of Lil J?
I would say end of October.
End of
but
October, yeah.
looking at the lineup in terms of what our crew's kind of got going on,
with
it probably
with the Halloween party. I'll have to mention the Halloween party.
That'll be
It'll be
sick.
so rad. Check out the Halloween party 27th? 6th?
Yep.
Posters so sick.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking No.one Network. All
There's
the
a big
homies.
lineup.
Amazing lineup.
Yep.
Demila. Love Demila. Big fan.
She's a babe.
She's a babe. She's lovely. And she's so cool too.
Yep.
And all right, well, to finish up, I just want to get one sentence or one word or whatever. I'm just going to read you a list of brands, of sportwear brands, of the brands that you sell.
Yep.
I want you to give you your honest opinion on each one in the catchiest way you can.
Okay.
All right. Ralph Lauren.
Life.
Nike.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. This is what I want. This is what I want. Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, she's alright.
Nautica.
Bit Dadley.
Bit Dadley. Oh,
Yeah.
Dadley. That's a good one. Guess. Feeler.
Groovy.
Paul and Shark.
Dapper. One of the best. Paul and Shark is fucking phenomenal. It's just very hard to find.
Yeah. Well, you might be able to get it some days at Lil J's or Lil J's garage sale. CK, Calvin Klein. Underwear wise?
Sexy.
Yeah, I fuck with it too.
Yeah.
Supreme.
Hype beast.
Hype beast. I feel that way about Supreme more than most brands. To be
OG
honest.
Supreme's dope, but
Yeah.
nah.
The prices get gnarly though for some of those
They
things.
do, but I also have lots of mates that collect it, and like
Yeah.
that's their prerogative, and good
No,
on
no,
them.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
But I'm also
to me,
like,
it's like if you think that's cooler than collecting expensive trading cards, though, you're kidding yourself. And
sorry, is that mine?
that's all right. You're gonna alarm, do you?
No, it's not mine. I think it might be
Oh, is that yours?
Scotty's. What's it?
Fucking skeezy, get out of here. Fubu. It's classic.
Fubu
Jack.
Jack.
That's a.
I got that Fubu jacket. Fubu jacket. That's that Fubu classic.
Fubu jacket. That's a Fubu
Mesk and
classic.
Smack.
Love
Yeah.
it. Shouts out both those boys. Yeah, what do you think of Fubu? Just Fubu classic.
Yeah.
Stussy.
Yeah.
Lame.
Vintage Stussy.
Alright.
Okay.
She hates Stussy. Yeah, I hate new Stussy. That was in David Jones and shit,
That
wasn't
just reminds me of like, yeah, my bra.
it? MB.
But not even like, yeah, my bra in like a, yeah, my
Yeah.
bra way. Just like fucking like gym junkies. Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
New
totally
Balance.
Not too shabby. Another Dadley, but proper like,
Patagonia.
yeah, dope.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that shit's trash.
Why?
I just don't all the like. Isn't it the culture of like the chads, like the adventure chads and stuff?
Yeah,
like
of
that?
course.
Oh, you like the adventure chads?
Why not? Doesn't everyone like an
no.
adventure?
Carhartt.
Yeah, groovy. Carhartt's good. Carhartt's, I really like what they've done. They have good quality clothes. It's timeless for all demographics. You know what I mean?
Lacoste.
It's like another gammon. You know.
Stay with the croc like a bee, Steve Irwin. Champion.
Champion's alright. It's a good seller. So I feel like
It came in hard in the last 2 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adidas.
3 Stripes, mate.
Of course.
It's a classic.
Like white. Stone Island.
Love it. It's just a wild dream.
North Face.
North Face is another great classic.
Kappa.
But that's another adventurous.
Yeah. Kappa.
Yeah, I'm not really into it.
I
but-
fucking love Kappa.
I know
Why
you
do
do.
I love
You
Kappa?
mentioned-
I've been rocking Kappa for. This is the only brand I had growing up because I played soccer. I had a lot of Kappa.
I had this conversation. I'm
Yeah.
I'm more into like
Rockin'
Umbro over
Deodora.
like Kappa.
Umbra or
Yeah.
Deodora. Do you remember Deodora?
Yeah, Deodora.
People shout out. My grandma's name's Dor, so we love Deodora
Do you
around
call it
here.
Deodora?
Yeah.
Is the Kappa logo? Do
Mhm.
you think it's two women or is
No,
it a
it's
male
a man
and
and a girl. Anyone
Yeah.
who thinks it's not is an idiot.
Yeah, that's
One
but I
has
was-
one has tiggies. One has
Okay.
tiggies and the other one
Tiggies.
doesn't.
What's
Yeah.
a tiggy?
Like a breast.
Tatas.
You remember like big old titties, tig old bitties, like
Yeah,
tiggies.
tiggies.
Yeah, come on. And anyway, so I mean, thank you very much for joining me on
My
on the
pleasure, Dal.
25th episode of the No Spin podcast. I want to thank everyone who's been involved. Thanks, Scotty, for joining us
Thank
on
you,
the first
Scotty.
one. It's good to have you here. Yeah,
Yeah.
representing the
Glad to be-
Gorilla
glad to be
Hands.
involved.
Have you got any shout outs?
Scotty.
No, stop shouting out. Scotty doesn't need any more. He's
Gorilla
never
Hands.
no.
No, I'm not. Oh, shout out to Sarah at the Culprit Club.
Yeah, shout out
She's
to
a
Sarah.
G.
So, I just met her on Thursday.
Did you
Yeah,
actually?
just the first time. Yeah, I met her
True.
boyfriend ages ago at the launch
Bit late.
of the book. At the launch, the book
Oh, yeah,
launch.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And yeah, well, and
Ralph lift shits.
shouts out to Ralph Litshits. And I
Yep.
think that's the best way to end it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's some classic videos.